Hey, what's up guys? It's Cypher from CypherPK.com, and today I'm bringing you my new Stamina Nightblade Dual Wield and 2H build that I put together very recently. Let's get right into it. I like to make these build videos very short and sweet. This is basically a variation of the old 2H and bow build, but different armor sets and a few different abilities here and there. It has very high weapon damage and enough regen, and it's very flexible. You can up your weapon damage or up your regen depending on your playstyle just by using the jewelry glyphs. Let's start off with our front bar. It's going to be our dual wield bar. This is our main offensive bar. We're using Killer's Blade for an execute. Now I know people might be saying, oh, you usually prefer executioner, but we're not using a 2H. So I still want to have an execute, and Killer's Blade does get the job done. It's a great execute. It has its benefits. Of course, usually with a 2H, I would prefer to use execution over Killer's Blade, but since you don't have that luxury to choose, I'm sticking with Killer's Blade. Surprise attack for our main source of DPS, ambush for gap closer and more DPS, mass hysteria, fear. There's nothing else to say. This ability is really great. Some people have recently been using other CCs. I'm gonna stick with fear just because for 1vx purposes, it acts as a defensive and an offensive ability, and it's a great ability. Now, quick cloak. This is a dual wield ability that's going to give us 40% movement speed for 5 seconds and reduce AoE damage by 20%. So you're going to be really tanking against AoEs, but the main reason we have this here is for the movement speed. You still want to maintain your movement speed because you don't have the bow to dodge roll and get the 5-second movement buff from the bow passive. So we're using quick cloak as a substitute. Now, you do have the option with this build to drop quick cloak and run rapid maneuvers on your back bar. That is something I'm going to be testing. Quick cloak is nice, but I don't like the idea that every 3 seconds that AoE attack that shoots out from quick cloak, sometimes it pulls you out of stealth, and sometimes it ruins your stealth gameplay a little bit. So I'm going to be experimenting with and without quick cloak, but I still want to have some sort of movement speed, so I'll probably be using rapid maneuvers or something on my back bar if I decide to drop quick cloak. Flawless Dawnbreaker for extra weapon damage. You could also use Soul Harvest if you wanted to, or Incapitating Strike. That's basically our main front bar. It's just very offensive. Our back bar is going to be our buff bar. It's our 2H bar. We have Rally for healing, Vigor for healing. Both of these together will usually get the job done when it comes to heals. We're running Caltrops. Now, usually I would run Mark Target against Nightblades, and this is just to combat Nightblades. And Mark Target, you can put Mark Target here. It's going to give you more healing, and you'll also be able to single out Nightblades and take them out one at a time. But Caltrops, even though it's heavy costing stamina, I'll explain how you should manage your stamina with Caltrops and Shuffle because they both are very expensive abilities. Caltrops, you throw it down, it snares people, it covers an entire area. The sewers are very tight, so if you throw Caltrops down, it usually covers a large portion of the sewer, and it just helps you overall. It acts as a dot, damage, snare, and it combats against stealth players. So if you throw Caltrops down on a Nightblade, they have to get out of your Caltrops. If you stand inside your Caltrops, Nightblade can come in and stun you from stealth. So really useful ability. Now Shuffle, one of my new favorites, just because it gives you snare immunity for 3.5 seconds and gives you dodge chance for 20% dodge chance for 21 seconds, and it also removes all snares that are currently on you when you activate it. There's a lot of snares in the game: Caltrops, Meteor, DK snares. As a Nightblade, you want to maintain your mobility the entire time so that you can play offensively and defensively properly. That's why I decided to go with Shuffle. And then Dark Cloak, it is now on our back bar instead of our offensive bar. Some people might have a problem with this. Like I said, you could put Dark Cloak here and drop Quick Cloak completely and put Rapid Maneuvers, morph it to Trading Maneuvers, whatever you need to morph it to, and put it over here for your speed. I'm not going to be doing that right now. I'm experimenting with Quick Cloak, and if I don't like it, I will do just that. But for now, I have Cloak on my defensive bar. And then, of course, Ice Comet. You could put Ice Comet. It gives you some regen. It's decent AoE, decent damage. You could also put Soul Tether. You have a few options over here that you can put, but this is basically what it comes down to. Let's go into armor sets really quickly. Now, the main source of regen from this build is going to come from our Willow's Path set. I have 4 pieces of Willow's Path on the body. Now, Willow's Path gives you magic recovery, stamina recovery, health recovery, and then the 5th piece bonus gives you 15% recovery on all your stats, magic, health, and stamina. So, really useful for the fact that you can't dodge roll as much. You won't have the werewolf passive. This makes up for the werewolf passive, the 5th piece bonus, because you have to have your werewolf ultimate slotted so that you can get the passive. This covers that. And so it's 4-piece Willow's Path on the body, and the 5th piece comes from the weapons. So we're going the two-hander with Willow's Path, and one of the dual-wield swords is Willow's Path. Now for the helmet and shoulder, you have a few options here. I'm currently running Engine Guardian, but my end goal is to run 1-piece Bloodspawn helmet medium and 1-piece Malachina medium. That's going to give us extra regen and weapon damage. I think I'll prefer the flat regen and weapon damage from this build. This build already has a lot of sustain. I don't think the Engine Guardian set. I think it's a little bit overkill if you know how to manage your resources wisely, because our regen is really great. On top of that, you have Engine Guardian, so I feel like it's a little too much. Having just the flat stats like the Malachina 2-piece or 1-piece Malachina, 1-piece Bloodspawn, I think that would be a better option for my playstyle. But if you feel like you're running out of stamina a lot or magicka, you need to run Engine Guardian. Engine Guardian is a perfectly viable option. On top of that, we're running Shadow Walker pants and 1 Shadow Walker ring with weapon damage. On the Willow's Path, I put all Divines, and this is going to boost our weapon damage because we're using the Warrior. Or if you're using Serpent, that'll also boost your regen. You could also put Infuse on the big pieces if you want to, and possibly put Prismatic Enchants. Right now I'm not using Prismatic Enchants. They're kind of expensive. I'm kind of just going to wait, see how the prices are, and if I have enough money, I'll test out Prismatic Enchants with this build. And now for the other jewelry slots, we have 1 Ring of Agility with weapon damage and 1 Necklace of Agility with stamina recovery. Now for the jewelry enchants, you can customize it to your preference. If you feel like you want more weapon damage, you make them all weapon damage. If you feel like you need more regen, you put more regen on it. So Ring of the Agility, this is a healthy ring. They're very expensive, but keep in mind the prices will keep going down just because there's going to be more in the game. The drops are higher. What I did is, since I got the healthy, usually I run like 15 points into health, the rest into stamina. Since I'm using a healthy ring, I decided to drop that 15 to about 6 or 7 and put the rest into stamina. So it kind of evens out regardless of whether you get the healthy or robust, because I want to have at least 20k health. And then the Necklace of Agility, robust. Now we're also using Sword of Agility, and on our dual wield bar we have the 3-piece bonus for agility, because you only really need it on your dual wield bar because that's your offensive bar. So those are the sets. Believe me, their V16 sets are expensive. The agility jewelry is expensive. The agility sword is expensive. The necklace. This is all very expensive stuff. You could always go with V15 Willow's Path, and the Engine Guardian you have to grind it out. The Shadow Walker pants are not as expensive as they used to be. Neither is the ring. But overall, this is a pretty expensive setup, and there are some substitutes, and I'll probably have that on my website. I'll probably give substitutes options for you guys on my website, cypherpk.com. Let's look into the champion points really quickly. Start off with the tower. We have about 10 points into reducing the cost of stamina abilities. You could also put another 10 points into the magician if you want to have more cloak sustain. 70 points into increasing our stamina recovery, 10 points into increasing our magic recovery. I am considering dropping the 70 and putting maybe another 10 points into magic recovery, and maybe even another 10 points into magician, because you gotta understand, this patch with the dodge roll nerf, it's about reducing the amount of times you dodge roll. Like, you don't want to dodge roll as many times. If you can use your cloak, use your cloak. And having more magic sustain through Willow's Path and through the changes to the stamina, through Nightblade passes, because instead of getting 30% stamina regen, now we have 15% health, magicka, and stamina regen. So you got to take advantage of the fact that you can achieve really high magicka recovery as a stamina Nightblade. And I'll show you how my recoveries and stuff look after this. 35 into tumbling. You still want to dodge roll a bit. You still want to CC break a bit. 10 points into blessed is going to increase our rally and vigor. I don't have any points into here because with this build, as opposed to my 2H build, my 2H build I do a lot of heavy attacks with my 2H. With this build, I tend not to do as many heavy attacks with my dual wield. It's just not as necessary. Like, sometimes I'll use it as an opener to buff up my weapon damage, because I am using weapon damage glyphs on both my swords. And by the way, they are both sharpened, just so I can put that out there. Now over here, 71 points into increasing our physical damage, 10 into piercing, 34 into precise strikes. This seems like a decent number for me to work with. I might put more into crit or more into piercing depending on my testing, but this has been working well for me so far. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. If you have over 360 champion points, you can unlock Unchained. I have 372, so I barely meet the cut, so I'm going to have to put a lot of points into the lady, 120, so that I can get Unchained. And Unchained is a very strong passive for stamina builds. After you CC break, the stamina cost of abilities is reduced by 80% for 3 seconds. So what I tend to do with this passive, I have 90 points into Hardy and 30 into Elemental Defender, so I'm pretty tanky on that aspect. But what I tend to do is immediately after CC breaking, I'll throw down Caltrops and activate Shuffle. Those are my two heavy costing stamina abilities. And if I can get them casted within that 3 seconds, I basically get free Caltrops and free Shuffle activated on myself. So that's usually when you'll throw your Caltrops. Caltrops is pretty expensive. If you throw it too many times, you're going to run out of stamina. If you throw it right after you CC break, it's basically free. So that's where it comes in. And if you don't have 360 champion points, I do apologize. I mean, the thing is, I have like 372. There's people with 500. There are people with 1,000. There are reports of people with 2,000. But it's just like, this is how the system is. This is how the game is. If you don't have it, you can use a regular loadout where you put a lot of points into reducing the critical damage, points into Hardy, Elemental Defender, and then of course points into Quick Recovery, because this is going to stack with your other form of healing. But since I do have over 360, I will be using Unchained to make my character just a little stronger. That's about it. Let's look at the character sheet. We have 58 into stamina, 6 into health. We dropped the health a little bit just so we can, because we do have the healthy ring instead of the robust ring. 26k max stamina, 20k health, 9k magicka, and then unbuffed 13.6 magic recovery. This could be higher if we put more points into magic recovery, and I probably will do that. And this is really good for a stamina build. 1.2k health recovery. We are using triple regen drinks. We could just use the double and we'll have more magic recovery and stamina recovery. I'm going to test that out. But I do like having this health recovery, because with the damage reduction, having health recovery like this, constantly ticking, giving you health back, it's pretty useful. It's pretty useful, especially like you're in cloak, you're trying to top off your health. This health recovery is going to definitely help you with that. Now, weapon damage unbuffed is 3.1k. It's really high weapon damage. 36.5% weapon critical. We're using the warrior. You could also use the serpent. We're using triple recovery. Now, buffed, our weapon damage goes up to 3.647, and then fully buffed with cloak, it goes up to 3.9. And then if you do a heavy attack, which is or 2 light attacks with your swords, you're gonna get 174 weapon damage from both of your weapons, and that's gonna boost you to like 4.2k weapon damage. So you have really high weapon damage while maintaining high recovery. And if you want to drop your weapon damage for more recovery, you can do that through the jewelry glyphs. That's about it, guys. I'm gonna be playing this build. If there's any updates to it, I will make updates, but I feel like this is a very solid build, and I feel like this could be the next big thing for Stamina Nightblades. After I'm done with this, which I'm pretty close to being done, I'm going to start working on Sorcerer next week. I'm going to fully gear him up with V16 gear and get all that stuff done. And then after Sorcerer, we're going to move on to DK, and all throughout that, I'll be leveling up my Templar a little bit every single day, like I promised you guys. And also working on the dailies and getting those passives and trying to farm up the helmets and shoulders that I need for my characters. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more builds, visit cypherpk.com. I'll be updating all the old builds, removing ones that are outdated, putting in the new ones very soon. So tune in for that. I'll be at TwitchCon this weekend, so I won't be uploading videos or stuff. I'll be trying to upload vlogs, and I might stream a little bit here and there while I'm at TwitchCon, but we'll see. Nothing's guaranteed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Please leave comments below if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe for more Elder Scrolls Online content. See you soon. Alrighty.